Hi there. This is Suri Deitch, and I'm here to co-host the webinar with my colleague Halima Leek Francis and Chris Lloyd from our admissions staff, who's going to run the slides. So it's 6 o'clock, and we want to respect your time. So hello to Bob and Lauren. Thanks for being on this webinar. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So Halima, wave if you can hear me. Yes, thank you very much. All right. So this is going to be a small group this evening. So between Halima and myself, we're going to go through the agenda and not belabor things. At any point, you're welcome to ask questions of us in the chat function at the bottom of the screen, or the Q&A is okay too. Both of those we will be monitoring. And if there's any follow-up for us after the webinar this evening, you'll hear from Chris or Halima to do that. So we're going to start off just by telling you a little bit about the School of Professional Advancement at Tulane, and I guess a little bit like where we're at with the Masters of Public Administration and the process, because we're in the process of getting approval to offer it. Halima is going to talk about the MPA and the structure and coursework within it. I'm going to talk a little bit about our student services and our application and admissions process, and of course tuition and financial aid. And then we'll see at the end if you guys have any questions. So thanks. All right, and there we are. Again, my name is Suri, and I'm the dean of the school, and Halima is the faculty member directing the Masters of Public Administration, directing and teaching in it. And you can see information about us on the screen, but also on our website, and you'll be sent a copy of the webinar recording afterwards, so you can always look us up. Thanks. And then there you have Sheila Gould, who's our Executive Director of Recruitment and Admissions, and Chris Lloyd, who you see waving right there. Thanks, Chris. Great. So the School of Professional Advancement, or SOPA, as we refer to it, is a school within Tulane that is focused on working adults and applied learning, which means learning that's relevant to the workplace. The school goes back almost to the founding of Tulane. Tulane actually started offering courses for working adults in the 1880s. And so there's a long history of serving this population and of being outward facing. And that's a history that we build on today. SOPA itself, under the current name, goes back about 2.5 years. And so in the past few years since I came on as dean, I actually came on in fall 2016. We've done a huge amount of work at the school, not just to change our name, but to expand services, to update and expand our academic programs, to grow our full-time faculty and our part-time faculty, and just generally to, I would say, to really improve the quality of what we offer to students. We offer both bachelor's and master's degrees. The Master of Public Administration obviously is at the graduate level, and then certificate programs, both undergraduate and graduate, in several different applied fields, which you can see on our website, as well as humanities and social science degrees that are specifically geared toward adult learners. All right, next slide. All right, I'll just say a few words before I hand things off to Halima. So the Masters of Public Administration is an entirely new degree program for us, and we are incredibly excited about it. We're, like I said, we're in the process of getting the program approved. It will be approved. That's not in question. There are just steps that we need to go through to get that done. So over the past several weeks, we have been getting approvals within Tulane from various curriculum committees for the curriculum itself. The program goes to the Tulane Board of Administrators in a couple weeks, and then it goes to our regional accreditor, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. And we expect that that approval process will take about 6 months. That's typical. It's kind of like clockwork. And we will offer our first courses in August 2020. So our plan at the moment is that we're going to open admissions to this program on December 2nd. I'll say that again a little bit later. And we are going to be recruiting for fall 2020. And there are a couple reasons why we're really excited about offering the Masters of Public Administration. One is that we believe there's need and demand for it. And even just in the few months since we announced at a very low key fashion that we were going to be offering the program, there's been a tremendous amount of interest. Sorry, my dog, I'm at home, obviously, and my dog is outside my bedroom barking to be let in, but I'm just going to ignore him. So we've seen interest and also need. And if you're based in New Orleans and know this region, you know that there's need for capacity in the public sector and the civic sector. The other reason why we're really excited about the program is that the timing for developing a new MPA is really good. It hasn't happened anywhere else in the country in a number of years. And the field is really struggling to figure out how to be responsive to 21st century realities in the civic sector in terms of data and technology, in terms of political polarization, and in terms of dealing with diversity and racial and ethnic issues, especially in urban areas, but also in rural areas. And so we think that this program is going to be a great response to those challenges, and we're really excited to offer it. And with that, I'll hand things over to Halima.
Thank you, Suri. Thanks so much for sharing that background. And as you look at the slide here, in designing this program, of course, we have 12 courses. It's a 36 credit hour program, and focuses on applied practice and some of those real world contexts that Suri mentioned. One of the great opportunities in building a brand new program is that it is present day focused. We can incorporate present day practice and be directly responsive to what we're seeing the need for in the civic sector. So really the program in its development and in talking to people throughout the field, we consulted with them to get their insight and their feedback about what the greatest needs were and what the greatest needs are for the civic sector. So that really played a huge role in informing the coursework that we have in the program. Our faculty who will be teaching in the program, they bring a wealth of academic knowledge, but along with that, great practice expertise. And I would say that there's a great balance between the amount of practice experience they have. Myself, I have over 20 years of experience in the field. Many of our other faculty members who will be teaching in the program also bring that to the table. So they are able to present coursework not only from the lens of theoretical practice, but also being able to show how does this work apply. So it's heavily applied and focused, and being able to give students the skills and tools that they need to go into the workforce and make a difference. Next slide, please. So the program by design is flexible, and as SOAP overall, we focus on accessibility for our students. So our program is online; it's fully online, and it combines class meetings with individual work. So there, much of the class work is asynchronous, and then the courses will meet live via platform like Zoom at least once a month to give you an opportunity to interact with one another. That said, the program also, and I'll get to this a little bit later in the presentation, we will have a residency component that takes place later on throughout the program. But for students who are based here within New Orleans, they certainly have the opportunity to interact with faculty. Also, for students who are not based in New Orleans, the opportunity to interact via a webinar or web conference or other means is there. So you will have that opportunity for interaction. The program speaks to students who are not only in the midst of their career, so students who have experience in the space, but those who are early career professionals as well. So students who are perhaps looking to advance within their careers, who are already working in the civic sector, or students who may be career changers. They may be working in corporate, or they may be working in another capacity, but they are looking to transition professionally. And then also those students who are coming straight out of undergrad, and they want to be able to be in a program where they can build some hands-on experience that will be able to apply to their careers. The program for students, go back to the previous slide, please. So for students who are looking to do solely a graduate certificate, that option is there. So the program has within it 4 concentration areas. Those concentration areas are K through 12 education leadership, economic development, environmental management, and nonprofit and strategic philanthropy. Those areas, although they can be as concentrations or taken as concentrations in the program, you can also take them separately if you opt not to take the concentrate, or if you opt to only do a certificate. So you can do a standalone certificate for the program. So that flexibility and option is there, and I'll go more in detail about that a little later. And then also for degree completion time, if you were to go part-time, you could feasibly complete the degree in 2 years, but full-time you could complete it in 1 year. So you do have those options as well. Next slide, please. So the core course or the foundational courses include a career-focused capstone, but they really focus on blending um, foundational practices, so established practices in the field, with innovations and things that we've seen that are needs for capacity in the field. So that's what comprises the core courses. And then at the end of the program, you do a career-focused capstone. We do have our website updated, and you can, if you go to the website for the MPA, you can see descriptions of all the courses that are offered in the program. Now, I previously mentioned the concentration areas. So here we have the concentration areas. And this is if you want to specialize in one of these areas. If you don't want to specialize in a concentration, you can certainly take electives to make up the remainder of your coursework for the program. So these concentrations are optional, and you can specialize in these areas with additional coursework, or with the remaining coursework that's in your program, or in the 36 credit hours. Next slide, please. So we place a lot of emphasis in this program on experiential and applied learning. That one way that we do that is through the capstone experience, and that can go directly or feed directly into your career work that you're doing. If you're already working in the civic sector, if you are a recent grad and you don't have work experience, the capstone would include an experiential applied internship type of experience where you can gain that on the ground expertise in your work. And that's what the next bullet focuses on there. So for if you don't have experience in the field, there's an internship that you would be completing that would serve to provide you with that experience. Now, the experiential components are also really important because they give you a lot of connections. They help you to build your network in the field. So by working alongside other professionals, you are able to position yourself for career advancement. Next slide, please. So that brings up career options. Within this space, within the civic sector, we're projecting, or we're seeing projected growth nationally throughout the Southeast for a long time, throughout the year 2026. And as Suri mentioned earlier, with that anticipated growth, there's a lot of opportunity and there's a huge need for capacity. This program, it speaks to really cross-sector opportunities. So we don't only focus on preparing students to work in government or only working in the nonprofit sector. We really take a cross-sector approach that will allow students to work certainly in these areas that we have listed here, but there are many diverse work opportunities that will emerge having earned an MPA through this program. In building out the program, we learned and we saw, and we also knew this, that many people oftentimes operate in various domains within the civic sector or that impact the civic sector. So we wanted to be sure that students would be able to operate in not only in government or nonprofits, but whatever space that they operate in that would have an impact within the civic sector. So we really wanted it to be to stretch across all of those opportunities. Next slide. As I mentioned earlier, the graduate certificates can be taken alone if you opt not to do the full MPA. So what that would look like would be 4 courses that would offer you foundational knowledge in a specific practice area. So these are the practice areas that we have. You would take 4 courses, and which would be 12 credit hours. But if you decided that later on you wanted to come back and get the full MPA, those hours, that coursework would be applied to the full MPA. So it does stack back into the MPA, and it gives you the opportunity, if you want to specialize in a certain area for right now, you can do that, but then you can always come back and complete the full MPA. Next slide. And here we have Suri. You're going to take it from here to talk about student support and success.
Great. Thanks, Halima. So this is just to let you know a little bit about how we provide a context in which our students can be successful in their academic programs and in their careers. So every one of our degree programs has a dedicated academic advisor who will work with you to make sure you know which courses to take when, to help you if you might have professional experience that could be applied toward the degree and help you get exempted from some of the coursework. The academic advisor is going to be the facilitator for that process. That's called credits for prior learning. And we have a number of ways in which we offer that opportunity for people who are seasoned in the field. Essentially, what you do is map your professional experience onto the coursework through a portfolio, and then faculty who are qualified to evaluate the portfolio give you a grade. And if the grade is sufficient, then you don't have to take the course. And so that's something that we think is a great opportunity for people who are experienced, so that you're not studying something that you actually know well or could even teach yourself. Like Halima said, the faculty bring both experience from the field and academic credentials, and we think that's a great mix. So you'll be taught by some full-time faculty who are completely devoted to teaching in the MPA program, and then others who work in the field currently and are able to bring both the the day-to-day knowledge and experience that they have from the field, as well as their professional networks. And those networks will benefit you for the rest of your career. We also have, in addition to the networking and the professional development opportunities that are offered through our faculty, we have a dedicated career advisor for SOPA. And so that person can help you with fine tuning your resume, your interview skills, things like that. And then finally, of course, there's the benefit of being a Tulane student and a Tulane alum. And not just the reputation and the prestige, but the specific services in terms of career development and networking that are offered to all Tulane alumni. All right, next slide. So this gives you a little bit more information about the credits for prior learning process. And we can grant up to 6 credits from that portfolio assessment process that I described previously. It could be from prior work experience. It could also be from volunteering or training in some other area. So we're flexible. The point is, if you know the things that are going to be taught in the course, you don't have to take the course. All right, next slide. So our application process is straightforward. We have an online application. Like I said earlier, we expect to open that admissions application on December 2nd. You'll be receiving an email from Halima to let you know that the application is open. It has a number of essays in it where you basically tell us about yourself, tell us why you think you're a good fit for the program, and reflect some on some of the challenges that you want to be able to address with an MPA. There's a $50 application fee, which, as you saw in the chat at the bottom, is going to be waived for you for your having participated in this webinar tonight. You upload a government ID and you have your transcripts forwarded electronically, or if the institution's very old school, they can mail them. These are application deadlines. The application, thanks, Lauren. The application deadline for fall is August 15th. I think there's a very good chance, it's not indicated by the participation in the webinar tonight, but I think there's a very good chance that all the spots in this program are going to fill well in advance of August 15th. So if you're interested, I definitely suggest applying much earlier. But these are the school's overall admissions deadlines for undergraduate and graduate programs. And this slide just gives you our planned tuition rate for fall 2020 and spring 2021. So essentially the 36 credit program the tuition will be a little bit under $40,000, which is a lot of money. I know, but actually, when you compare our tuition to peer institutions, it's, in a relative sense, quite reasonable. There is, of course, a financial aid office at Tulane, and staff in the financial aid office can work with you to figure out what financial aid you might be eligible for between federal grants and loans. And SOPA itself offers institutional aid to certain groups of individuals, including first responders, active duty military, and veterans. Next slide. Well, there you go. That's it for our question. That's it for our presentation. Please let us know if you do have any questions at this point. We will also follow up with you. Like I said, you'll receive a recording of this webinar by email. You'll also receive emails as we move forward with the program, including an announcement that the admissions application has opened. So again, we're really excited about this program. We appreciate your time this evening, and we look forward to seeing your application for admission. Anything else you want to add, Halima? All right.
No,
Um,
we're really looking forward to working with you. So and don't hesitate to be in contact. My email address is here, and also Chris is an admissions contact for you. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
Great. All right. Thanks so much. And Lauren and Bob, have a good evening. Bye.